Welcome to the Griz Volleyball press conference. We're joined with head coach Allison Lawrence today. Coach, just one on the schedule, but obviously it's a big one. Tied with them in the league standings right now, so a little bit extra on the line in that regard as well. So what's the mindset as you get ready to go to Bozeman?
Yeah, it's a big game. I think it's always fun to go there. And one of our team's kind of favorite memories from the year, always, and from their time here. So I think we're just looking forward to a great atmosphere. They always have a huge crowd. So we're looking forward to a great atmosphere, and playing a great team and having that bring our best out. So I think a lot is on the line in some ways. I think in other ways, every Big Sky match that we have played, it's either, you move up 10 spots in the standings or down either way with each time, with each win or loss. And so I think it's going to be a big jumble to the end. And so we're just trying to more keep our sights on how are we getting better and how are we evolving so that we can enter the conference tournament feeling like, one of the hottest teams. That's what we want to do. So that's our goal.
Allison, now it's November, you're near the top of the standings. Just kind of what's your point of emphasis with this team with just a couple weeks to go here?
Yeah, I think this time of year you can get really focused on the end, but we aren't at the end yet. And even though it feels like conference tournament is only a few weeks away, I think we have a significant amount of matches still to play. We haven't even played Eastern Washington yet. So I think there's some big time things to do and prep to be had. And so we're trying to just stay one game at a time, as the saying goes, but also not project too far into the future, because all of that's made up in our minds anyway. We've got to take care of business and we've got to keep getting better. So I don't want to coast. I don't want to feel like we've grown as much as we can. I just want to keep changing. So I think they're hungry to do that. We got to keep them there.
You got to play in the Ducks-Beavs rivalry, obviously, back from your playing
heck yeah.
days. So,
yep.
From a player standpoint, did that mean something more on the floor? Was there a little bit of a different feeling there when you're going up against your rival?
Yeah, I think it does. I think as I've gotten older, I've lost a sense of what that feels like, in a way that I think helps me anchor our team in a focus that's more about us and a little bit less. I think rivalries can be this incredible thing that you can find levels to your game and parts of yourself competitively that are better than you've ever known because a rival kind of brings the best out of you. But I think on the flip side, it can bring out the worst in you too. So I'm glad that I got to experience something like that and to see both of my best and worst come out in those moments and be able to share that with the team and the perspective I have now. But yeah, I think you have to be careful with mindsets in these moments. It's so easy to get hijacked by just stupid stuff. So we're going to stay grounded and ultimately really thankful that we get to be in this kind of college environment because not everybody does.
The latest road trip, the swing from Greeley to NAU or vice versa, however it usually goes, it's one of the harder road trips, I feel like, for all the sports teams here, basketball, soccer, I feel like they go through the same thing. What are, I guess, kind of some of the learning lessons when it is kind of a tough weekend, a tough road trip that you can go with the girls, especially with it being a younger group, maybe experiencing that? Yeah.
It was nice to play in Greeley and be able to talk about, okay, yes, this is a long road trip, but we've got to get used to what it feels like to be here if we're in the conference tournament in a couple weeks. So I think we were getting used to some gyms and prepping in a way that was good and having a parallel process there, I hope. And then, I think what was so frustrating about the weekend is there were moments when we really felt in rhythm and we felt like we had some control and some, opportunity to finish sets and to finish a match. I think NAU was the one where at a certain point, they were playing so well and we had fallen off that it just sort of felt like the match was running away and in their favor. And that's never a good feeling. And we really haven't had that feeling in a match and haven't had that lopsided of a match in a long time. And so I think that was frustrating, but also a good reminder of all the work we have to put in to not be in those kinds of situations. And what, kind of look at what NAU did to put us in that situation. They played really well and have at home this whole season. So there was that piece. And then I think Saturday was kind of equally frustrating or differently frustrating, maybe to an equal degree, where we had some big time opportunities. And in the fourth set, again, we were up by quite a bit and had swings finish, or at least to keep the point spread, and made errors in really crucial moments. And so, yeah, I think we've got to learn from that, of just the pressure is going to be even higher in the conference tournament when every error could mean you're going home. And so I think we have to learn what that environment did to us and why, and then be able to make changes in those same scenarios in the future. So it's all for good.
When you look at MSU and just kind of the few weeks it's been since you last saw them, just where have they changed, how have they improved, and what have they, maybe what stands out about them since the last time you saw them?
Yeah, they're a really good team. They have a lot of weapons. I think, their offense is even more in rhythm than it was when we saw them here. I think they run a 5-1 with a young setter, and she's outstanding, the setter is. And so I think just her connection between her and her middles has gotten that much more fluid and that much more seamless. And so you're seeing a lot of patterns for them that look really dialed in. And so I think it's hard for teams to stop certain routes that they have. And so I think that's a piece that we have to address in practice and prepare for. And then I think their ball control is really great. They did that really well here. And then, they've had the same matches that we've had, or that everyone's had, where depending on the gym, they've had ebbs and flows of that. But I think in their home gym, they're going to be ball handling at the highest level. They've got an excellent libero that's going to be candidate for libero of the year. And I just think that, when they play us, they play at their best. So a lot of things to prepare for. And I think a lot of things that we match up well with in terms of our physicality and our offense to put pressure on parts of their game that are good and solid, but also I think we can go point for point with, and did here in Missoula. So I'm excited to be in that kind of back and forth battle again. And I know our team is, and be in position to have swings for sets. So that's what we're looking forward to.
Is there anything you've learned over the years about how you kind of embrace this week and the lead up and the approach, both, I don't know, just schedule wise, and then also just like the mentality of having a big match that week that you've kind of learned over the years?
Yeah. I think early I felt for myself a little unsure of how to, set a mindset with our group early in the week, just because it's just so easy and tempting to grab onto a lot of different narratives when you play MSU and in that rivalry. And it always felt very incongruent with me to sort of be like amped and angry. That's just really not my vibe. I don't know if anyone's noticed that, but I see those things as distractions. And so I think, I don't know so much that I'm sure I've learned a ton, but I think more I think our program has gotten more and more comfortable just with what feels the most authentic to us in this week and how we prepare. And so I think that's allowed, our staff to be as relaxed as possible. No one's really relaxed in this week, but as relaxed as possible, just in we can control this, we can't control that. This is the mindset we want to be in as a staff. And this is what we want to be locked into and not distracted by. But then I think us being that way allows our team to really own their experience of it. And ultimately it's for them and it's theirs. And so I think it's allowed them to be calm and also rally around the things that they love about their group, rather than the things that they don't like about another group, or the things that they want to, the differences you want to find between you and your rival that can be petty and are ultimately false. We're all kind of doing the same things. So I think that piece feels really good. And I never leave this week feeling like it brought a side of us out that was inauthentic to who we are. And I that really means a lot to me.
If you could take the emotions out of it, just from the coach's perspective, as far as this being a test for your team late in the year with the tournament around the corner, is it excitement, or just the test of being able to watch your team play a big match now? What is that like from perspective?
Yeah, I think that's a great point, that this kind of test is going to, probably be the biggest one emotionally before we get to the tournament, just in terms of all the extra hoopla around it. And so I think I'm excited to see how we react. And I'm excited to see pieces of our team that we've seen since January really show up and be able to verbalize that to them. Because in these moments, you got to bring every person you love and every experience you've had with the program with you into these moments. I think if you can do that, that's where confidence is. And that's where you really love playing and find joy playing. So I'm excited for that. And, you know, we all are competitors, so we want to be tested. And this matchup could happen again in the conference tournament. So and it did, the last conference tournament that we were at. So I think, it's fun to see what it brings out. And I think ultimately we have to be patient because we won't know until we get in the moment what we need to do. So I'm excited to have that patience with the group as well.
And then last one for me, 2-3 years ago that you added the trophy? Where do you think just, you know, I know you have added that, trying to, you know, grow it more and more when it comes to the volleyball aspect of the rivalry. Where have you maybe seen it grow, and where do you think the rivalry is at? For volleyball.
Yeah. I love the traveling trophy, and that was a big commitment between our staffs. We decided, you know, we got together in the off season and said, you know, how can we make this our rivalry distinct from just the general Brawl of the Wild in the department? How do we make it special for our athletes and add some things that are just for volleyball? So I'm really proud of that collaboration. I think in great rivalries, there's more collaboration than there is anything else. And so I'm really grateful for that. So that piece has added a nice element. And then also, you know, both our programs have gotten so much. If we look at the last decade, there's been ups and downs. And I think MSU has been more consistent in their finishes in the conference. But we're both getting better in ways that I think what would mean the healthiest thing for the state of Montana and volleyball in Montana is if the conference championship is us and MSU. And that's always been a goal of mine in that partnership of how do we bring the best volleyball to this state, and how do we make the best volleyball players in this state want to stay here and play and put on a jersey that's either us or MSU, those types of things. I think that's when we have grown the game in a way that really is generous and loving, and with, you know, like the future in mind and not just our own egos in the moment. And so I'm really excited for that. And I think MSU's done a great job in that, and I think we have as well. And so I hope that this continues and our rivalry continues to be situated kind of in the top of the conference and then at the top in the end. So, yeah. Thank you, guys.